It seems really obnoxious to say it, but I really do believe it. I think the lottery and compound interest are very much like each other in a couple of ways. Either you know how the system works and you take advantage of that like a farmer takes advantage of seeds, meaning that you plant it in the right place, in the right soil, at the right time of year, with the right nurturing, with the right water, and you know how long it's going to take, give or take a little bit, to become a thing worth harvesting. Remember, we talked yesterday about how you put one seed in the ground, and that one seed doesn't come back as anything other than the seed that you put in the ground. You don't plant a mustard seed and get avocados, and you don't plant avocado seeds and get mustard trees. It just doesn't happen that way. And compound interest is that thing that allows that one seed to become an entire orchard. Not just one plant like that, but one plant like that where each fruit has a multiplicity of seeds, and each seed has the ability to produce more seeds, which produce bigger plants and even more fruit. But it doesn't happen without time and effort. Now, in the last episode, as we talked about seeds, we talked a lot about the seeds of legacy and heritage. We talked about how you could be connected to the seeds that you planted, and they may become your children, your grandchildren. They may be other people you've invested in. They may be your career. They may be your education. Today, I want to focus a little more on those things that you invest in for your financial future. Now, understand some of those look like absolute cash. And by that I mean, you take a little money out of the bank, and if you're smart, I remember an old man telling me one time that his Jewish family grew up and they literally had little jars in the kitchen. And when he would come home with his paycheck, he would cash the whole thing, and they would take 10% of it and they would put it in the giving, and they would take 10% and they would put it in the savings, and they would take 10% and they would put it in the gas money, and they would take 10% and they would divvy it up from the very beginning, and they knew where every dollar was going. Dave Ramsey has a very similar process. He calls it the envelope system. And so it's a way of staying on a budget. So if you invest your cash and you manage your cash that way, then you know where your money's going. Another thing Dave Ramsey says, and I agree with him on this one, he said, you've got to reach the point in your life when it comes to managing budget and finances, that rather than looking at your wallet at the end of the month and going, where did all my money go? You look at your money in your wallet at the beginning of the month and you tell each dollar where to go. Then there's no question at the end of the month, other than, did that money do what I told it to do? Did that specific amount of money pay my mortgage? Did that specific amount of money pay my electric bill? Did that specific amount? And when you ask that question, if there's a 10% entertainment budget, did that entertainment budget eat up 12% or 30%? Because if it did, you and your entertainment budget need to have a conversation. You and your daily activities, your attitude, your entertainment need to have a discussion about where that money's going. But see, that one little bracket over there called saving, that's the bracket most Americans have a hard time with, because we allow the entertainment budget to eat the savings budget. We do, it just munches it right up. And sometimes we allow that bracket to disappear altogether, and so there's no savings. There's no 401k, there's no Roth, there's no IRA, there's nothing. And when we don't discipline ourselves and discipline our money, then our seeds never make it in the ground. So how is compound interest like the lottery? I believe it was Einstein, I could be mistaken, I believe it was Einstein who said, compound interest is a tool that you should understand. Those who understand it earn it. Those who don't pay it. So ask yourself this question: is there any type of account, your entertainment budget, your savings budget, your ROA, your Roth 401k, your IRA, your any CDs that you might have, any stocks or bonds that you're holding, are there any of those instruments of savings that fall into that 10% category of saving or more if you can, are there any of those instruments that earn more compound interest than the credit card is charging you? If the answer is no, then the wiser money choice is, while you might still be saving, you should be diverting some money from your entertainment budget to pay off that credit card, because it's not just not making you money, it's costing you more money than you could possibly be saving. It's like the lottery in that if you don't understand it, you'll keep paying money into it, and that's called a tax on the stupid. Ignorance is different than stupidity. Stupidity is spending all your money and then blaming your brokenness on somebody else. Ignorance is paying a bill that has no interest on it and skipping the bill that has high interest on it. Worse yet, paying the bill that has no interest on it, skipping the bill that temporarily has no interest, but the minute you miss a payment now has very high interest. And all of the intro programs that you had no annual fee, you had no interest, you had low payments, you had the ability to roll over other things, it was improving your credit to have it until you missed that first payment. And now you went from 0 interest to 19% interest compounded. That 19% compound interest is like paying the bill of the lottery. It's not like buying a ticket. It's like you're paying somebody else's lottery winnings. And it's riskier than buying a lottery ticket. You could spend $100 a week on a lottery ticket and still have better chances of being hit in the face by a snowball in the Sahara Desert than winning the lottery. Well, if you're spending $100 a week, that's $5,000 a year. If you're spending $5,000 a year, $5,200 if you spend through your vacation, if you're spending $5,200 a year on lottery tickets with a payout, fractional payout, a fractional hope of a payout, better chances of being hit in the face with a snowball in the Sahara Desert. That $5,000 is not invested money. It's wasted money. Just roll down the window and throw it out on a broke neighborhood, because those broke people are going to be really deeply impacted by it. Buying a lottery ticket is not an investment. Buying a lottery ticket is not a savings. Paying high interest on your credit cards with compound interest is neither investment nor savings. The idea of thinking, well, I've got a $3,000 margin on my credit card. Okay, that's fine for emergencies, but don't use it unless it's an emergency. And if it is, have a plan for paying it off as soon as you can, because that same $3,000 sitting in an account making compound interest is going to make you a lot of money. Not overnight. It's not like you put $3,000 in and poof, it becomes $10,000. It doesn't work like that. But with discipline, like the seeds we talked about in the last episode, with discipline, that $100 a week, that $3,000 a year, that $5,000 a year becomes a lot of money. But you never want to borrow credit card money to pay a bill that has no interest on it, because you just created interest on a bill that has no interest. You never want to use credit card money to buy lottery tickets, but crazy people do it all the time. You never want to take out a loan to pay off a lower interest loan. If you're going to take out a loan, get a lower interest loan to pay off a higher interest loan and get rid of that debt. Get rid of the compound interest against a simple interest. But I'm not a financial genius. I'm a pretty astute guy. I'm a studier. I'm a researcher. I listen well to what's going on around me. But here's what I know. I spent close to 3 hours yesterday studying, listening to people who've done what I need to do next. They've already done it, and they've done it well. And because I have enough sense to realize I don't know everything, but I know people who know something, I realize there are people that I'm going to study to learn how to do my online courses. And there are people that I'm going to study to learn how to do my next level book production. And there are people that I'm going to study to learn how to perfect and craft a perfect keynote speech. And there are people that I'm going to study to build my online live streaming platform. And there are people that I'm going to study when it comes to finance. And there are people that I'm going to study when it comes to television broadcast. And they are probably not the same person. But each one of them has their own, what you would call, vertical market. They have their niche. They have their expertise. They have their science mastered. They're very good at what they do. Now, there's some guys I've recently become connected with that I'm going to offer to connect to you at no charge. If you want to know them, send me a private message. So here's the hook. You got to be in the North Dallas area in order to connect with the particular people that I'm talking about. Now, I drive from Cedar Hill up there to sit down with these guys and talk about money. Most of the time, they buy me dinner. I'm not sure why. Maybe because they like my pretty face. Last time I took my wife, so it was pretty easy to understand why they bought us dinner. But they will buy your dinner too, because they're pretty convinced that if you hear what they have to say about money, you're going to like what they have to say about money. This is not a sell. This is a teaching. This is about learning how to not be ignorant about your money. Learning how compound interest should work in your favor. What is the rule of 72? How does it apply to me? How soon should I start saving for my kids' college fund? How soon should I start saving for retirement? When is it too late to start putting money back for retirement? Is there a strategy that would allow me to save some money right now, even though I'm getting a little long in the tooth? Is there a strategy that would allow me to save some money right now that the government can't just siphon off half of it the minute I start putting it in the bank or the minute I take it out to use it? Are there ways to protect the money that I'm earning, the money that I'm saving, the money that I'm investing for my own seed, for my own harvest in the future? Is there a way to protect that from being gobbled up by taxes, by fees, by processing, by compound interest? The answer is yes. In fact, there are multiple strategies. Depending on the amount of money you have, depending on how you would invest it each month or each week or each day, depending on where you are willing to put it and how much risk you're willing to take. And there are those investment tools that you could turn a lot of money really quick if you have big money and great risk awareness. And then there are those things that you look at and go, that's the kind of package that I want for my grandma. I want to know that she's going to be taken care of for as long as she needs to be taken care of, and that she's not going to run dry, and she's not going to run out of money, and the government's not going to step in and take half of it. I want to know that what we're setting aside for her seed is going to continue to grow to be her seed. There are a lot of different ways that you can invest. You can invest in people, as a mentor, as a teacher, as a guide, helping them to find their way to the next level of success. You can invest in family and the time that you spend with your children and your grandchildren. You can invest in your labor. There are many who do what I do in the world of speaking and teaching and motivation and leadership coaching, who also have full-time jobs. And, you know, in order to pull off both of those things, it requires being very diligent on your job about doing your job while you're at your job, and being very diligent in understanding that you run your own business. And if it takes a 40-hour work week to run your own business, your guarantee is that you're going to work 80 hours this week. And if you're not willing to work 80 hours a week, if you're not willing to put in the time, the weekends, the extra hours, the staying up late, the getting up early, to do the things that need to be done to grow your business, then you may be growing your employer's bank account, but you're not going to be growing yours. You may be growing your employer's arsenal, but you're not going to be growing your arsenal. You may be growing their ability to generate wealth, and you're not going to be growing yours. And in the same way that you've got to understand the tools of compound interest, you've got to understand who your mentors are in each lane, in each vehicle, in each tool that you need to necessarily build to be successful. You've got to be very strategic about how and where you invest and waste your time. Time has compound interest, just like money does. Once it's gone, it's gone. And there are those things that you start down the path and you realize you thought it was going to be a 5-minute project, and 3 hours later you're still working on the same 5-minute project you started on because it's really not as simple as you thought it was. And you should have invested the money in a mentor rather than the time in not getting it done. I know that from experience. Go back and look through some of the earlier videos and you'll see some of the things I've learned along the way of experience, but you'll also see a particular message called, "Did you pop and stretch it?" Because when I was asked that question, The knowledge that came with the answer behind did you pop and stretch it changed my business life in one particular aspect dramatically. 180 degrees, changed the course of where we were going. In addition to that, though, the revelation of what that question represented changed the paradigm in my life. Did you pop and stretch it? See, one of the things that I've learned since then is that information is priceless. Basic information at the right time is priceless. Let me give you one of those little priceless keys. You may have seen this on a YouTube video and not realize just how priceless it is. It happens on a regular basis on a snowy day or a muddy day or a rainy day that someone will turn a corner too fast and hit a curb and pop, their tire comes off the wheel. Now, in that instance, most people look at the tire off the wheel and they go, oh my gosh, I have a flat. Therefore, I can't drive any further. Therefore, I need to take the tire off and replace it. Therefore, I'm going to be delayed in wherever I'm going. And if I don't know how to change a flat, I'm really, really toast. Here's a quick hack for you. This is a $10,000 hack. It's a redneck hack. It's the kind of redneck hack you see when guys with big four-wheel drive off-road trucks go bouncing through the rocks and they knock their tire off the wheel. It's not flat. Doesn't have a hole in it. In fact, it'd hold air if you get it back on the wheel. But getting it back on the wheel, that's a whole different ballgame. If you have a cigarette lighter and a can of hairspray, you're underway. Spray a little hairspray inside the tire. Ignite the hairspray as you're spraying it from the can toward the tire. And the massive expansion of the hairspray on fire inside the tire will take about 3.5 seconds. The massive expansion of the air will pop the tire back on the wheel and inflate the tire enough that you can drive far enough to put full air in the tire. And if the tire isn't damaged and doesn't have a hole in it, you're good to go. See, that's a $10,000 hack that could save you being stuck on the side of the road, could keep you from losing your job. But that's one of those little pieces of information that in a matter of seconds you could glean that could save your life, could save your family, could get you out of harm's way and get you on the road again. But not knowing it, not knowing that 3 seconds worth of information could leave you stranded, put your life in danger, leave your car and your possessions at risk. Sometimes it's the little tweaks. Sometimes it's that $50 that you spent on entertainment last weekend that if that had been put into a compound interest account and left there, maybe you didn't see Wonder Woman and enjoy all you can eat popcorn. But what you did do was put a little money in the ground as a seed that's only going to come back like the seed you planted. If you plant money, you're not getting shoestrings, you're getting money. Why? Because that's the seed you planted. When you plant money, you grow money. But remember the other thing we said in the last episode about seed. Seed not only reproduces of the kind that you put in the ground, it always reproduces exponentially. So when you plant one, you get a fruit-bearing, seed-bearing plant, which produces more than one, which produces more that produce more than one. And what you've planted in that $50 instead of Wonder Woman and popcorn could easily become the compound interest that carries you into retirement. Do you see how easy that seems? It's like spraying hairspray in your tire. Boop! All of a sudden, you're back on the road and you're good to go again. And it seemed so complicated. I'm going to challenge you. Send me a private message if you'd like to go to a free education class. These guys will teach you as much as they can teach you in an hour's time and feed you dinner. And if you're willing to go and have dinner and learn something, the dinner is free. The education is free. And if you finish that meal and you think, these are some guys I could learn from, like the pop and stretch it guy, like the guy who set his tire on fire and put it back on the wheel in the middle of an off-road adventure. I could learn something from some people like that. Then after having dinner with them and having an hour of learning from them for free, you decide if you want to have another dinner with them. You decide if you want to trust them to teach you more about your money. So remember, compound interest is like the lottery. You either earn it or you pay it. You either earn it or you pay it. And the number of people getting paid on it is a slim, slim margin compared to the number of people paying into it. Where do you think all that money comes from that goes in the lottery? It's a tax on the stupid. People are too ignorant about their money to understand that buying $1,000 worth of lottery tickets a year doesn't get you any closer. You got a better chance of being hit by a snowball in the desert. Now, one of the things that I've been investing in is labor. And by that I mean the work that I do after work, the work that I do every day when I come home from work. Now, I'm wrapping up at the end of this month being a W-2 employee for the last 18 months. I have an opportunity to go back into my full-time coaching, and so I will be offering online courses within the next 2 weeks. Those online courses are courses that I've been building for 8 years now. I've been building the curriculum behind them. I've been test marketing them literally all over the world. The content of these courses have been taught on 3 different continents now. They've been taught at the highest levels, the national PTA, the state PTAs, the classrooms, the ISDs, and for the Congolese government and the University of Kinshasa. Been taught in the streets in Brazil, been taught to business leaders in Brazil. And so these are the 3 primaries. Learn to roar leadership, learn to roar communication, and the attitude hack. And these are the 3 books that are, as you can see, they're quick, easy studies. The online courses will be a little more elaborate. These are designed to be a throw it in your backpack, take it to work with you, study it as you go kind of thing. Pass it on to your team affordably and pass it along easily to students. High school students are going to be able to read through these pretty easily. And each of them will be its own online course. And then this is the book. You've heard me talking about, I've been working on this book for 14 years. One of the challenges with this book is that it is so emotionally, spiritually, and intellectually deep. It demands a lot of the writer. It's demanded a lot of growth and a lot of change and a lot of challenge. These books have been learning experiences, no doubt, but they're so intertwined. It's really been, the greater labor here has been separating them into a teachable curriculum because they flow so well together. All of those, the attitude hack, learn to roar leadership, learn to roar communication, and 5 battle strategies of a victorious warrior, before the middle of September, all of those will be online courses available for you to take from anywhere in the world. Now, I don't do online courses for finances. So I want you to send me a private message, or I want you to put a comment down there and say, I want to go to the free dinner. I want to take this free education course and see if it's something that I'm interested in. You can learn how to manage your own money. You can learn how to manage other people's money. It could be a job if you wanted it to be. But if you just want to get the education to go, you know what? I've been setting aside money. It's not earning any interest. It's tucked between my mattresses. I want to know how to protect it from the IRS. I want to know how to make more money with my money. I want to know how to build something that's going to last for me and for my grandkids and for my retirement. And so when I decide to sell my house and buy an RV and travel across the country, my bank account won't be empty when it happens. If those things sound like a good investment of your time, and you don't want to write a book, and you don't want to build an online course, and you don't want to teach classes, but you want to know how to make your money make money, I'll introduce you to the guys that can do that. Does that sound like a fair deal? I'm not the genius when it comes to money. There are other people much smarter than me, so I'm not going to give you advice on it, other than to say, let me get you near the people who know what they're talking about. This is not the kind of information I sell, but I know people. I know people who know people. Those are the kind of people you need to know. I hope you'll take advantage of it if you're in the North Texas area. It's worth the drive. It's worth a good meal. I'll get you the details if you'll send me a message. I'm J Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.